Had a little bit of money, so the Lord did me good. Got all kind of shit. Got the glow sticks. I got the gotcha bag. Got the Hawaiian punch. Man, everybody won't holler at Pop what you need. I got it. If I ain't got it, I can find it. You understand? I'm selling glow sticks. Glow sticks that go with the yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And now, the stars of 4Kids will sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
gave proof through the night
that our flag was still there.
Oh, say does that star-spangled
Banner yet wave
o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy 4th of July from all of us at...
Are you guys ready? Go. Chicken, eagle, snake. Chicken, eagle, snake. Chicken, eagle, snake. Chicken, eagle, snake.
Stay bombad. Welcome to the Bombadcast.
This concludes our broadcast day. Yes. Hi. What's up, everyone? It's good to see you all. Welcome to the end of the broadcast day of the Bombadcast, I guess. I don't know. You're at the Bombadcast. It's fine. We're good. We're good. But welcome. Listen, we're about to talk about a little indie film called Quantumania. I believe is how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. But before we get into that, welcome. You've made it. You've arrived on at Thursday, which is when we usually do our main show, the Bombadcast. It's when Scotty and I sit down by ourselves with some guests. I don't know. It could be literally Bombadcast can be anything, and it's always live on Thursdays. And you should always be here. That's just that's just how it is. But we also do a little show on Wednesdays called Bombad Gaming. Scotty will play any assortment of little, fun little side scrollers and different little bobs and doodads and things like that. Look at that. Look at that guy. Look at that man. Look at that handsome man. But that's every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central. And then, listen, everyone, high five Joe's pecs. Every now and then I do a show called Hyperfocus. So that's where I usually sit down with a guest. I can sit down with a panel and we talk about anything. We can talk about Star Wars. We can talk about anything. It's a discussion show. So, but you know what? we've got all the formal stuff out of the way here. I'm gonna bring on my co-host, my Bombad bosom buddy, my let me see, I would say the Kang the Conqueror to my King the Conqueror. Ooh.
Wanna have you near me? I wanna have you hear me say it.
I'm here, Kang.
Hi, Kang. The Kang gang.
I would call you Gang, and you would call me Sang. And we call Jared Jang.
Jang.
Yeah.
Jang. Oh, we do have a guest tonight, don't we?
We would call Taylor Tang, but that's also
Tang.
That would work very well because Tang refers to something inappropriate. That being said, look at Jared says we call Katie. We can call Katie Kang though, for real. That's like a real thing. That kind of makes sense too. Anyway, happy to be here, everyone.
Welcome.
Very excited. We have a really special guest this evening, as always. Unexpected, but they want to talk, and I like talking with them.
Unexpected,
and you know what's funnier?
welcome. Yeah.
He is also one of these things, a patron.
Oh my goodness.
$7 a month. You're at this point, we're trying to do more content. We have our moments, we do our things, but we're really sending out letters mostly. And if you want to get a handwritten letter from one of us, that's something we've been really doing a lot of.
We're definitely going to be doing that. Yeah, listen, life
Probably
has been kind of crazy
after the wedding
and everything.
After my wedding, my wife, I finally have a wife. That means I can get a life. I can do that.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's
as everyone who is 30 years older than us says.
It's not scripted, by the way. Just hope
no,
you know
it's not.
Bombad.
Not at all.
It's
Bombad. If you think any of this is scripted, it's probably one of the most brilliant scripts ever written because it feels like we're making it up off the top of our heads.
Exactly, which is not the case. By the way, if you haven't yet,
10 levels deep.
1,000 followers. That's what we want. We're at 402. We're slowly getting there. We really are, and I'm very happy. So we have these social sites as well. You've got all these areas you can follow us at. Look at these two cool cats. But
we're even on Hive too, but I don't know if
without further ado, let's bring in our very own Kang the Conqueror. I'm referring to Jang the Conqueror.
The Jonkerer?
Wait, who invited you here?
Who invited you?
I invited me to get revenge on the Council of J for casting me out. Hi guys, I'm really happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. This is exciting.
Would it be Jang, or would it be like a soft J, like Yang the Yonker, maybe?
I like all of it. I mean, I feel like Jay the Conqueror is what sticks,
I like all of it.
All
right.
I'm making jokes because I always joke about wanting to be the villain. Like, if you guys think I'm going to be obnoxious about Kang, you guys are not ready for when we meet Doom. I said this to Scotty off air. It's going to become my entire personality. I was bad when we had Doc Ock in a Spider-Man movie again. It's going to be so much worse with Dr. Doom. Just warning you all.
Oh, I'm excited. So, I guess to try to kick this whole thing off, happy to have you here, Jared, obviously. Jerry, I'm happy we can make this work. I know it was a little late for you because you were the last one to see the movie of the evening out of our group chat, which is
listen,
which is normally me, but now Taylor and I are able to see earlier shows.
So,
yeah, no, listen, it's fine. I had no idea that again, we were going to get just a flash freeze. It's the day after tomorrow up here. There was nothing at lunch. It was dry, and now there is snow everywhere, and that's just how that works. I'm thankful
though to say to this movie, it was a solid 2 hours. Did not need any more. I think it delivered on every level within those 2 hours. So so runtime aside, we've been used to these really long Marvel movies recently. This one kind of broke a mold where I'm like, oh wow, we got through this story kind of like a 5-part series, just in terms of speed. It was like boom, 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 everything built to a good moment. Spoiler-free review to kind of kick this whole thing off. I guess, we all have our own opinions about recent Marvel movies, and some of us highly regard a couple, some of us not so much. But I will say, if we're kicking off Phase 5, this is the way to do it. And I really liked it. A spoiler-free thing I can say is I guess you could say the first hour, you really don't meet your antagonist. You hear about them. And I don't think the movie, for me personally, didn't start to get like super hype until we really met our antagonists. Like I wasn't like everything else is kind of like, okay, we're doing this again. We're doing this again. Not in a bad way. Just like, okay, I've seen these beats before until we get to our villain. And I'm like, oh my God, we haven't seen this before. So yeah, that's my spoiler. That's my very brief spoiler free review. Anyone else want to take it or move?
No, not really. Jared, go ahead, Jared.
Well, I was gonna say I did really like this a lot. Mutual friend of ours, Trey Mitchell. I went on his show Mile High Cinema recently to talk about the first Man movie.
Yeah,
and like Scott's arc across the MCU.
Yeah,
and doing that, I got down to rewatch the movies, and something that I was really excited for was to see the progression of the story of Scott trying to reclaim his family and watching that progress. I also just want to call attention to the fact that Fat Kitty, Taylor's cat that is 30 pounds and is a bowling ball, I call her a droidica all the time, is sticking just her paw under the door right now, and she pulled it away just as I called attention to it. Oh, there it is again. It's so distracting. Like she just slyly just like hi with her little.
Don't give any spoilers, Jared.
I know. Oh, don't worry. She's big enough to maul a man to death. Just rotund, spherical. She could power Kang's multiversal pod.
That a mechanized cat, only for destruction or whatever.
Mocat. But
Mocat.
All of that said, I am baffled by some of the reviews that were coming out of premieres and press screenings.
What were they? Bad ones?
Utterly bad.
This got a 40% on Rotten, right?
This is chilling. I mean, not to relitigate Eternals because I have no desire to talk about that movie with Scotty.
Don't talk about that, Scotty.
Like, it's sitting right next to Eternals as like the lowest rated MCU movies, and people's critiques and like takes coming away from it were like, it's not a great cap to the Ant-Man trilogy or Scott's story. It's like all set up for Kang. Well, I don't think we watched the same movie. Like, there's a lot of setup for who's going to be like the overarching villain, sure, but like, well, first of all, I think we need to. The MCU is clearly trying to teach us that we need to not think about movies and trilogies anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Love or hate Thor: Love and Thunder, they broke the trilogy rule. Avengers broke the trilogy rule. Captain America's about to break it. Everybody's getting TV shows as well. Like, we need to stop thinking in trilogy. So just because this is the third Ant-Man movie does not mean this is the last time we're going to see Paul Rudd in his,
Oh no,
quantum.
they made it very clear with this episode. This movie.
Well, it is like an episode, frankly.
Yeah,
like, that's what this is. It's not like you were saying,
but
we don't think in trilogies anymore.
Yeah, it is an episode, and people are complaining about like, oh, like it's a movie. Why is it being treated like serialized television? Bro, it's been treated like serialized television since phase 1. What are you smoking?
Yeah.
That has always been the point. Yeah. But no, I really do love the themes of family in this one. One of the themes I really enjoyed was the idea of like how like a great generation can go, okay, I fought my big bad. I overcame this obstacle, and we're done now.
Yeah.
And how that stagnation does nothing but breed conflict down the road because the people who think they save the world enough times to be done have done the job completely. We can get more into specifics with that, but I really like that. I really liked the through line that had from Scott's character to Scott to Bill Murray's character, through having Kang as a villain.
Yeah,
just a lot of themes about family and about the responsibility the old guard has to the new guard, which I think is really cool because it's a carryover from Phase 4. Phase 4 had so much to do with passing the torch and like what it meant to foster the next generation. And this is a really fun continuation because it's not so much a passing of the torch so much as it is a reminder to Scott, to Ant-Man, that, you know, you're not ready to hang it up. And it's not because like you're done, or it's not just because you did a good thing. It's because the job isn't done yet.
Yeah.
You know, and I really like that. I think there's some really cool decisions made. My only real issues, you know, I understand your complaints about the first act and a half or so, like until we meet Kang and he really takes over the movie. Totally understand that complaint. Don't fully share it, but I totally can wrap my head around that. I kind of hit my wall with a lot of like, I never told you the full truth type tropes. By the fifth time I heard it, I was like shoving my face in my popcorn bucket, just begging people to like speak in full sentences. Like that felt a little like overly foreboding. Yeah, just speak plainly, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I have very few complaints. Again, you know, I'm you know, only a couple hours fresh out of a first viewing. So obviously over time, all of our opinions are going to evolve over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a very specific, not necessarily even complaint, maybe a worry is a better word for it, that you and I talked about a little bit before we got started, that we can get into with spoiler talk that pertains to Kang. But all in all, I was super happy with it, super enjoyed it. You know, I let a lot of these early reactions kind of spook me, and I just kind of come away having another moment of like, did anybody actually pay attention?
Yeah, did we watch the same one? Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of like weird, and again, like what doesn't work for people doesn't work for people, and that's fine. I just, you know, the people who were talking about this, like, oh, it's Kang's movie, like, you know, yes, the villain steals the show, but also like Jonathan Majors is born for this character.
Oh yeah,
like these are one of those moments where it's like I can't see another person doing this.
No,
right.
So yeah,
beautifully said. I agree with a lot of what you said though too. I mean, I'm not saying the full first part dragged the entire time. There were some very intriguing parts, but like what I said, when that villain comes in, that is when the movie just goes up so high on my list just instantly. But Jerry, what's your thoughts?
Well, so my spoiler-free thoughts, just to start off here, is I think I've been fairly vocal about it on Twitter and everything. I felt like this movie was going to emotionally drain me, drag me through the mud, kick me in the nuts a few times, and I was going to be, I was ready to be traumatized.
Yeah,
with the way that, especially I think the latest trailer, the way they were talking about you're missing time with your daughter and things like that. Anyway, y'all know how I feel about that kind of stuff. What ended up happening for me, this is a much more enjoyable ride.
Yes,
this was an adventure. This was it still had those themes I thought it was going to have with the father-daughter relationship, but it wasn't as we're going to suck your soul out and make you watch something horrible happen and relive it, as you know, like, not to get too many spoiler dialogue things, but you know, there was a line in there where I was like, I thought that was what the movie was going to be. But then, again, that being said, there were still high stakes, it felt like to me. And I am just absolutely, oh God, it's a fantastic start. To phase 5. And like you guys were saying, you know, people haven't really been happy with phase 4, phase 5. And I just think that people are, listen, after the Infinity Saga, we got to shrink down a little bit. No pun intended for Ant-Man, but we got to shrink down the scale a little bit, but the scale is kind of huge. In a different way, right? The threat it's getting to where it's starting to feel a little bigger, but we've got to tell different stories. We've got to like take big swings, and I feel like they're taking a lot of big swings. And maybe that's why it's not landing with a lot of people. But I, again, as a fan of 80s cinema, Well, I was gonna say, hey,
get
listen,
it.
hey,
Mad
it's okay,
respect.
Woodsy. Hey, respect.
I don't think I've
respect.
ever seen Patrick Kitson in here, but I like this one. This is pretty good.
Awful. Listen. Y'all can go read the Rotten Tomatoes score if you want. But what was I say? I feel like I enjoy the big swings. I enjoy people taking big swings, and I enjoy them. Not as bad as
Not the place, because I loved all these movies.
Wrong. Cross the board, wrong.
Sorry.
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm being antagonistic, but
right. Respectfully disagree.
Around, but
listen.
Banger.
Welcome. But I'm not sure if listen, we like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull here, pretty unanimously.
I like
don't know
it
about
more
Jared.
than most of those films.
Right. More than Temple of Doom. Honestly, I like it. So if that doesn't anger you, welcome. But anyway, but that's it. Like, yeah, listen, we're taking big swings. We had a fun adventure.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I had a blast. I watched an MCU movie and had a blast. That's my non-spoiler review.
Crystal Skull. Yeah, that is
the fourth one.
That's my favorite Indiana Jones movie. It's not the best one, but it's
pretty fun.
And Patrick, I should say to you, Mr. Kitson, I think we should
Bombadcast.
We should very much say, like so many of us here, all three of us are so used to dealing with like the worst of the worst on the internet that I think we might be jumping to a conclusion that you're going to now be a dick because we like things that a lot of people don't for some reason. So allow us to give you the benefit of the doubt. Yes, Scotty and Jerry love Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's been too long for me to have an opinion, so I won't weigh in on that. But
better get chopping, man. It's coming this June.
I know. Taylor's not seen any indie movies.
Oh, that's crazy. I got a crazy look
for you to share that with her.
Whenever that night I met Auntie Jerry at the Mardi Gras ball, and I sent you the photo of Auntie Jerry.
Oh man.
He straight up looked at me and goes, "The Phantom Menace is your favorite Star Wars movie of all time." I'm like,
thank you, Woodsy.
Like, yeah.
Thank you. Andy surviving a nuke in a refrigerator is the most Indiana Jones thing of all time. Indiana Jones has plot armor like no one would believe. Oh my god. Anyway,
like Scott Lang.
Yes.
No, Scott got saved. Scott did not survive. Scott got saved.
No, he almost got obliterated.
Well, spoilers.
Look at this. Look at my stepdad. My stepdad's in here. The fun seem to be so they attempt to pass the torch. That's right. Okay. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that at all.
And we're going to attempt again to pass the torch come this June. But listen, I'm loving all these torches going everywhere. I love it. There's so much light. There's so much light in this cave.
So, okay, I guess we can fully dive into spoilers. If you have not the opportunity to see the movie, by all means, you can leave the stream, come back to it later.
Dip out or watch still, if you're one of those type of people.
What I want to do later, boys, I didn't say this earlier on top, but I kind of wanted to end this whole thing with like an analysis of this. But we'll do that later.
I gave it to you right now. That is the that's the phase 5 timeline is what that is.
Actually. But in all seriousness,
it's changed a lot since that picture was taken too. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's been delayed.
I looked up an article last night, and it was I think it was the Hollywood Reporter or whatever. Anyway, and it was listing a lot of this kind of stuff. And again, Blade was under. And I realized it was from 2020. It was from early 2022.
Blade got super delayed. Marvel's is coming out on the Blade release date. Agatha, we'll see. Thunderbolts is not until it says 24 still. That might still happen when it's supposed to.
See, the article I read said that was coming out. Yeah, next. Well, that would be next.
Isn't Secret Invasion in the fall now too?
Yeah,
Loki and
maybe.
Loki is definitely in the fall. I know that. Yeah, it's not in the summer anymore. Secret
Invasion Loki's this season.
Loki is my jam.
Secret Invasion must be in the summer now, not in the spring.
I just rewatched Loki. I basically watched the entire Loki series, season 1. I'm from Britain now. Yesterday, like in one day, to prepare for this. And Loki.
Have you not seen it before at all?
No, I have seen it.
I was rewatching. I'm sorry.
I think we reviewed it
for this. I'm very glad 2. No, Loki I've watched a couple of times before. This is my third or fourth time watching through. Love Loki. I cannot wait for the new season.
Loki, I'm gonna upset this guy in the comments some more. Loki was my favorite TV show until She-Hulk. Like,
yeah,
She-Hulk.
Honestly,
I thought She-Hulk was fine. I like Loki. She-Hulk. Loki was definitely the god tier show.
I think Loki's still my favorite. How do you beat Richard E. Grant? Like just being Richard E. Grant.
Glorious purpose.
Like with his death, the way he's like, like that man has the best facial expressions of all time.
Hot take, just Star Wars related. Before we move on with Richard E. Grant, I'm not here to do like Rise of Skywalker slander because he's fun in that movie.
Yeah,
I wish we got Richard E. Grant somewhere else. Where like we could get more of it.
And Mandalorian.
We may still.
Who knows?
Just saying.
You're not wrong. I don't disagree with that. I agree. So I, going into this movie, had the same exact Jerry kind of fear. I'm like, God, we're gonna like get our hearts ripped out. Like, I don't want to cry. I'm like, I'm in a mood for a fun movie, and they kind of flipped it the entire time. I'm like, oh, this is a little bit more adventure, more pulpy. It felt. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. It felt like, you know, when you see those really awesome, like I forget the artist. Is it Mobius or more? I think it's Mobius. One of those like early 70s sci-fi like painters, like Ralph McQuarrie level kind of guys. It felt like I was in one of those paintings for a solid 30 minutes. I was blown away by that. I'm like, this is very Star Wars-y, just like kind of, you know, anthropology, looking at an environment, figuring it out. And the setups for the whole movie were all there within that first just 30 minutes. Like, I know that's how most movies work, but in terms of even the ants being something that, you know, go into a separate time of their own and come back, I mean, that all of that was so amazing, so well done, really good. I would almost say Star Warsy in this, like, you know, let's set everything up at the beginning, have it actually pay off at the end, like full through. That was so good. That was so good.
It's funny, you know, the moment Kang started monologuing, I leaned over to Taylor and I said, "It's the Council of Kangs." She went, "Ooh," and then later on, Taylor went, "I bet the ants are gonna save the day." Like, she like no precursor to that.
Yeah,
just shot in the dark was like, the ants are gonna fix everything. And then we find that the ants have now like gained sentience and have evolved and have become like a race of socialist cyborg ants.
I love that. I loved that addition, like socialist cyborg.
I know socialist is a loaded word, but
oh God, it was so good.
It's me and one other guy in the auditorium went, yeah.
I pumped my fist. I pumped my fist
for based Hank Pym.
It was funny. I actually, this week, I was reading a book on evolution, and one part of it was discussing eusociality, which is the idea of like a hierarchy system within ants, like how they function as a crew. And like, if ants were to be able to go off into their own universe and like develop fully for thousands of years just by themselves in isolation, they really could get to that level of just functioning as a whole. There's no altruism there. They're all functioning for the benefit of a whole. And the fact that Hank's like, yeah, they developed for thousands of years and then they can come and help us. They developed technology and built cities. I'm like, let's go back there at some point, because that is so freaking cool.
I agree completely.
Obviously, we might.
So cool.
I think we might. Frankly,
cool.
You know, that was just such a cool thing to just set up and leave. You know.
Yes. It was wonderful. And it's funny, like, this movie did do a couple of things for me in the theater. Like, it really does. It's really one of those makes you think kind of movies. And I know that's silly, but like, I put my foot up on like little, you know, little
on a child.
What?
Child's head.
Oh no, not on a child. No, I put it on top of the little wood that, you know, is like the barricade between each area. I'm like, did I just like squish a multiversal area? Like, is there like a little area on that thing where like if my foot hit that, it's like, you know, Horton Hears a Who, and that whole entire universe is gone.
Oh,
this
was Horton Hears a Who meets, if you haven't seen Strange World 2, the Disney movie that just came out, one of my kiddos' favorites.
Yes.
This had a lot, especially at the beginning when they first get there. That is exactly Strange World, but with like on a PG-13 rating level.
Yeah.
It was it really makes you kind of like it's a cool thing to add. They keep adding layers to the Marvel universe and stuff, which I mean are there in the comics, I'm pretty sure. That's comic book storytelling, right? It's just adding layers upon layers of like, oh, there's this new thing we've never heard of over here now. Now there's this new threat. There's this new world. There's this new blah, 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 blah. And I love the limitness. The limitness. I don't know if I can't say that word this late. Limitlessness. Yeah, limitlessness is what I was trying to say. Yes, thank you. I love the limitlessness of kind of this universe and everything. Is there a universe below that one? Even it's honestly everything's infinite, so whatever. We don't need to bog ourselves down in that too much, but no, it's just a really cool world. Absolutely. That I was enthralled by.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It was enrapturing, and the whole cultures down there was cool. The fact that they were all suppressed people was also very interesting, because you are wondering how they're going to, why do these people even matter? And the fact that they matter in the end. Look at Jay. What's up, Jay? I see you. Revolution. Yep.
Revolution. Yes. Said Cassie Lang.
Based Cassie Lang.
Cassie Lang. Oh,
I was gonna say when they drink the.
I was gonna mention that too.
What do they call it? The red?
Drink the ooze, Dad. Drink the ooze. That was an interesting plot device to get them to understand the language. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was neat.
So good.
Yeah. But speaking of based Cassie Lang, pulling her out of prison at the beginning was interesting. I thought that was a cool choice. Also, Cassie said, she said ACAB. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what Cassie said. She shrunk a cop car. That was great.
She said Cassie did say ACAB, and I appreciated it. And the thing that, and I was alluding to this earlier, like I really love this idea. And it's an issue that like we deal with in the real world, like, we talk about like the baby boomers a lot, that generation of how like everybody was writing about like the end of history, like, okay, guys, like we beat the game.
Yeah.
We beat story mode. We beat the big boss, we beat the Nazis, we beat the USSR. And now we kind of get to like ride off into the sunset, and the world doesn't need saving anymore. And we can all just be done and rest on our laurels. And surely nothing bad will ever happen, because we just kind of went done.
Yep.
Yeah. We've defeated racism. We've defeated everything.
Every time we hit a milestone, we've decided that the problem is fully solved. Yeah. And I really think it's interesting that like every other story that we got to pick back up with in phase 4 was very much like people picking up the pieces. Hawkeye is picking up the pieces of like getting back to just having a family again. Wanda is shattered by what was done to her and what was taken from her, and it consumes her soul. Doctor Strange is left pondering like, what the hell do I do with myself? You have, and then you have people who are now coming up into this new world post Blip, in Kate Bishop, in, She-Hulk, Shuri having to take on the new mantle of Black Panther and like live up to her brother's example. Again, another person who we lost after we just got them back. All of that to then see Scott Lang, who went on one, the world is on the line adventure, because his prior adventures were not did not have the stakes that almost anybody else had.
No.
Scott's stakes were, oh no, there's a lunatic in like a poor man's Iron Man suit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, we got to save Janet from the quantum realm, and also Ghost is going to kill us, but maybe we can make her be nice.
Yep.
he rather had to go on one big world-saving adventure.
Yeah.
And
which he was the key to for the most
he
part.
He was a huge part of it. You're right.
Yeah.
But he came back. His daughter was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He brought back Janet. He brought back Hope. He brought back Hank. And he kind of got to ride off into the sunset after that.
Yep.
You know, he got everybody and everything back.
That's the last shot we got of him was him watching the fireworks. One of my favorite shots in all of Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're just like, oh, so beautiful.
So like, and like I say he got everything back. Obviously, what he can never get back is the time he lost when he was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Both the time he lost, but every time he's been in prison, and the time he lost, you know, in the 5 minutes where he was trapped in the quantum realm, where everybody else lived a life. So seeing him pick back up and adjust in the time post blip, where he is written this book, become some type of B-list celebrity. Which is really funny. All the stuff with the book is fantastic,
dude. Everyone says the same thing. Will you take a picture with my dog? Was the funniest thing I think I'd seen.
That was really good punch up on a joke, because it could have just been a series of selfies.
Yeah,
and you could have just left it on, and everybody asked me the same question: "Can you take a picture with my dog?" And it'd be the joke that's obviously not the question everybody asks. But no, everybody wants Ant-Man to take a picture with their dog. But choosing to then have Scott be this hero who goes, okay, I did my part, I'm done. You know, to jump back to the other bug superhero who Scott is erroneously mistaken for. You know, it is the ultimate Spider-Man story of like it is one of the core tenets to Peter Parker stories, is like where power and responsibility begins and ends. You know, you can't save everybody, but you kind of have a duty to at least try.
Exactly.
And seeing Cassie pick up where in a way kind of where Scott left off, following in his footsteps as well, which I think is really important. Because why was Scott locked up in prison in the first movie? Oh, well, because he screwed over some Bernie Madoff type guy. He robbed from that bastard and gave the money back to all the people he stole from. And that locked Scott up for years. And seeing Cassie then also be this person who's like, no, I am going to be involved in community action, in organizing and pushing back against the state and global capital, just like her father did before her, is a really cool beat. And people keep talking about it's super poetic. And people keep talking about it feels like Star Wars. You know, this has nothing to do with space shit and a bar full of weird looking aliens or some Technopolis, which they do have, some Technopolis, which with a bunch of energy based weapons. It is simply I'm going to do what my father did before me. Star Wars is hell. Which is super great. And something I really love. And there's another really cool element that, again, I'm so glad I went back and rewatched the first 2 Ant-Man movies. I really do need to start rewatching these movies before I go to see the next one. Because
there needs to be a rewatch, absolutely, on a cycle.
One of my favorite things, and I talked about this with Trey when he had me on Mile High Cinema, is the dual storylines between Hank Pym and Scott Lang. Is that you have these 2 men who are at a crossroads with their daughters. Hank Pym is actively trying to put his relationship with his daughter back together.
Yes.
And she wants nothing to do with him. And Scott is trying to, and again, very important line of dialogue as we see how it's, coming back to haunt him, Scott, in some ways in this movie. We see, though, because multiple people say to Scott multiple times in the first movie, you just have to live up to what Cassie already thinks you are.
God, great line.
You just have to be what she thinks you are. You don't have to try to be great. Just live up to her expectations, because she already thinks that you are a god. Right? So seeing that come full circle here, where now, Grandpa Hank is not only repaired his relationship with Hope, but now he's like building
they're working together.
They're working together, but he's also like
he's being
building
a grandpa.
like a really meaningful relationship with Cassie. You also see Cassie now seeing Scott for the first time to her fail to live up to that expectation.
Yeah.
Because
he's
while
just writing a book.
He's writing a book. He's listening to his own Audible. You know, he's
That
reading
was
this,
amazing.
which is so funny. I was so happy to talk to a raccoon.
Like that was the whole. Oh man. Anyway, please.
It was really funny, but like, but seeing Scott for the first time like fail to meet that standard, I think was a really cool decision. And you see how it colors how he handles the rest of this movie. And you put him on, and again, this is a very good decision. You put him on the front lines of this resistance movement. That he sees what the stakes are for all of these people. And, you know, you see him become inspired by Cassie, and you see Cassie become a hero in her own right. I love the way that, like, you know, they do just enough to make sure that everybody at home is caught up. I don't think
dialogue wise.
I don't think they necessarily needed to show us the flashback to Yellow Jacket trying to kill Cassie in the first movie.
Yeah.
But I understand why they did it. But like, I love the idea that over the course of the movie, it's Cassie like being visibly uncomfortable by being in the same room as, you know, Darren / MODOK. And also MODOK looked great. All y'all just don't know how to have fun.
I do like MODOK.
It's literally a giant head. What else can you do? You know,
that's the joke. The fact that it
looks ridiculous.
It always has looked ridiculous.
But you know, watching Cassie slowly build up that courage and steel herself enough to face MODOK.
Yeah.
And not only face him, but talk him off the ledge.
Convert him.
Yes.
You know,
Solo style.
Yeah, I loved that. I love that. Yeah, you know, like just stop being a dick. Tell me what to be, Cassie. Like, and again, people have like I've heard people say that MODOK's one of the worst, or I'm sorry, Yellow Jacket's one of the worst MCU villains. And every time I hear that, I turn up my nose because again, some people just don't know how to have fun. And I think
he's a super villain.
He is. He truly is.
That's it.
Like we, you know, and whether this is good, bad, right, wrong, and different, whatever. Culturally, we have moved away from the mustache twirling megalomaniacal villain. We have more, you know, pound for pound, we have more Killmongers than we do Palpatines.
That's true.
In fiction right now. And Darren Cross just being this like psychotic fail son who felt rejected by a surrogate father, that's enough for me.
I love it.
And the actor's name escapes me at the moment, but he sells it so well. He's so fun in Antman. He is so much. He's such a fun villain.
He's a good villain to hate and everything. Like especially going after a child at the end. Also is just like you know,
and it makes his face turn, no pun intended, even funnier. And even funnier, but also more earnest. That like. You realize just how tiny a person he was deep down because he took all of these seemingly meaningless things so seriously.
Right.
Like, you know, like the whole, like, Scott, I always looked at you as a brother, and everybody else is going, what? Yeah. But to him, he sees Scott as the prodigal son.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense that he views Scott in that way, even though it's completely one-sided.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's and I mean, obviously that's played for laughs and everything too. And just like, I did love the whole, like everything he said just got more and more like everyone cringed harder.
Oh God.
the more he went on, but I love that they did give it to him. They were like, you know what? You're fine. You know, you're good.
I did tear up when he was like, am I an Avenger now? I'm like, that's actually kind of sincere. Because he
at
did
least I got to die. An Avenger.
Yeah.
I died laughing, sweet. Honestly.
I was like, that's actually kind of endearing because from his perspective, he really did think he did that. And he did help the day.
Right. He took a step.
He put Kang down a little bit.
He made a choice.
Absolutely.
I love giving villain. I love that they're giving villains the choice now to like. That to me is way more interesting than back in the day comic book movies. You had to kill the villain at the end of every film.
Every time.
Every film. And I mean, yeah.
Do you have any idea how many Marvel villains? I'm interrupting you for one moment.
No,
any
you're
idea
fine.
how many like banger villains we should still have, in my opinion?
A lot. A lot.
All we have is shitty Zemo.
Shimo. Yeah, no, I just
deeply sanitized Zemo.
Yeah.
I love that they gave MODOK like a gravitas, but at the same time it didn't take itself too seriously. I loved that it felt pitch perfect to me.
He felt adequately menacing.
Yes.
Like, it is funny.
He still killed a lot of people. A lot.
Yeah, well, there's that. Like, you know, like I audibly moaned in the theater when Bill Murray basically read out the MODOK acronym.
MODOK acronym, yeah.
And like he said that, and I just went, "Oh yeah!" Like I was so glad that they did it twice. They did it twice, and it made me so happy. But that was just like, it was a perfect mix. Most movies, Marvel movies, whatever, really try hard sometimes to strike the balance between like taking the piss out of one of your villains while also making them feel threatening. And sometimes like it either makes the jokes land flat or them lose their scare factor.
Yeah.
And here, you know, MODOK had almost like a Grievous to him.
Yeah,
where it's like where like you're pitiful, you're pathetic, you are defined by the amount of violence you can enact upon other people, and you're silly, and everybody is making fun of you, but also Jesus Christ, I don't want to be in a dark alley with you.
No.
You know, like that scene where he tries to kill Pym is great.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody has the same Jesus Christ, Darren moment, and it's funny every time. But his like, you know, it's MODOK.
What happened?
See you in hell, Hank. Like that was scary.
So good. It was so. I thought we were losing Hank right there. Honestly,
I swear,
when the plane was going down, I was waiting for it to blow up. I was waiting for the plane to blow up.
An explosion. That was the moment that Taylor hit me with the ants are gonna save the day.
Nice.
The cyborg ants that worship him as a god.
Oh God, it was so good. Yeah. They really did. They gave him his gravitas, but also had those great moments and everything. And like I don't know, man. Also, like every time they did say the acronym a couple of times. My favorite was when he's talking to Scott, and Scott goes, technically that's MODOK or something.
MODOK, because there's an
MODOK
of
there's
killing or something.
For killing.
For killing, that was it.
Yeah. Oh like, man.
MODOK.
Yeah, MODOK, actually.
By the way, who was smitten over Katie O'Brien in that like warrior role she had? Do you remember who she is? That was the
I can't remember her name, and it was one of the only parts of the movie I didn't like.
It was the Imperial from the bridge. Gideon ship.
Is that who that was? Okay.
Yeah. It took me a while to realize where I knew her face from.
I was like, she is so fine. I'm like, where is she from?
Oh, she's gorgeous. It's just her character was just.
I love
generic warrior princess. I was like,
right. But I like the implications of what she had there, where she was like her own little rebellion. But I also liked that the buildings were living things. All her little, her cavalcade of people were so much.
That's
fun.
another Star Wars thing.
Gunhead.
It is like the nature versus, like cold technocracy.
Right, right. Dude, the gunhead dude and the little Beb. What was the name of the thing that milked the ooze out of himself?
Oh no, I don't remember.
That
was so
I loved that thing. Like,
you want to know who voiced him? You want to know who voiced him?
Do you have?
David Desmalchin. which is crazy.
Is that who that was? Because they saw
all
his
of
name.
Scott's ex-convict buddies aren't in the movie, but Daz Malchin gets to still have a role.
That's what I was wondering. I saw his name and I was like, who
Luis
was that?
isn't there. Daz Malchin's regular character isn't there. T.I. isn't there.
Yeah.
I saw his name in the credits and I thought he was coming in a post-credit scene. That's what I was waiting for Lair to be like, hey, where's Scott?
For him to talk
kind of a
about
thing,
Baba Yaga.
you know?
Oh God, that's hilarious.
What is Scott? Yeah.
So well done. I like that crew. I like the idea of their living buildings. That was actually really like, because at one point they even
it was a bunch of trippy, very trippy.
Did y'all notice that? They did the Ewok at the very end where one of them's holding the other building, and I'm like, oh, like that's pretty wild.
I actually didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I love that. It was like your buildings are alive, yours are dead. Like,
yeah, so good.
I also, just going back to Gunhead for a second, I'm gonna burn my one Bombadcast F-bomb. Gunhead got fucked up.
Oh my God.
That might have been one of my favorite kills. Like,
it was a great kill.
I
was so mad.
To talk about Kang for a moment, I love the physicality Jonathan Majors brings to this performance.
Yes.
I love the way that, like, he puts his whole body into those energy blasts. Like, it was so cool. Like the way that he caught like the discharge from like Gunhead, and like you want like him like convert the energy around him to then redirect it. So cool. Like, it reminds me of Adam Driver with Kylo Ren. Like the physicality he brought to that role. Where like it was it's one of the reasons I loved watching Kylo fight in those movies, aside from him just being cool as hell. It was the physicality Driver brought to that performance.
Yes.
That like I could only see Adam Driver fighting that way.
Yes.
Same thing with Kang. And that goes for Kang's like technological combat all the way up to the way he pieces up Scott in the throne room. Like, that was ass beating.
That was bad.
Yes.
That was a whooping.
So that was the one part where I'm like, I'm going to have to prepare myself for him not to make it out of this.
I was worried for a hot second. I'm not gonna lie.
It really felt like it for a little bit. Whenever Wasp comes back through the portal, by the way, like whenever they're going through the portal one at a time, I'm like, oh my god, no. Because you're like, I remember that happened in the trailer. For a hot second, they had me fooled. I'm like, yes, we made it. He gets pulled back in there.
Yeah, that was my thing. Is like after Kang got jumped by the ants, and like everybody's getting ready to play victory celebration, and I'm like, no.
Red herring.
No, I saw these trailers.
Red herring. There's the ass beating, and you know what's funny?
Just like there's one specific sequence
so personal
where Scott throws this like wild right hook, and Kang tucks under it, spins around the other side of Scott, and just hits him with this disgusting right uppercut that you can tell just went straight to the kidneys, and then he just follows it up like with like a blow to the face. Oh my god, I felt every hit. Like that was like watching a Daredevil fight.
You don't see that much blood. Marvel. That was a lot of blood in the face. He was like mangled up.
He looked like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. But
that looked like the end of a Rocky fight. Like it was just, I mean, which fitting next month for Creed. Literally. But
I was really impressed with what they did with Kang, and I guess this is kind of like the midpoint of what I wanted to get to in terms of ideas. But like you set up you set up a villain so good with this one. Whereas you've got Guardians that set up Thanos just as the big on a chair guy. And then you see that happen again later throughout the post-credit scenes and other scenes in the MCU. But this is the one that was like, this guy gets his hands dirty. He has a lot of versions of himself that gets his hands dirty. And I was so happy to see that.
Yeah.
God.
Well,
did you guys
notice... like Hank... much like Hank said, of the ants never give up. It's kind of the same with Kang. Kang never gives up. He keeps coming back. Versions of himself always come back.
Yeah.
So
beautifully
done. With Kang and kind of getting towards the Council of Kang stuff. Pardon me. First of all, I think there was a really funny little meta moment in the second post-credit scene where you see like the Kangs, because like there's the Kangs showing up in this like gladiatorial pit as like all of the Kangs across, you know, the multiverse and eternity are being summoned. And then you cut to the ones in the audience in that rotunda. And I think there was I maybe I'm wrong. I think they were poking fun at fanboys a little bit, like the Soups of the world, in the way that there's like one Kang right in the foreground who's grabbing another Kang by their shirt and oh my god, like just shaking the other one violently, pointing like, oh my god, look at him, and like kind of poking fun. And like as much as we want to make fun of that type of person on opening night, granted, there's a time and a place, and you know if you're in the theater to behave like that, like. There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place to applaud. There's a time and a place to lose your shit, and you can tell the moment you walk into one. You know when you're in the place where you're allowed to do that. You know, like, and again, like I'll own it. When I saw Multiverse of Madness, I squealed when I saw Reed Richards because
that was a good screening for that.
Because I've just been, but I was in a room full of people that were hyper reactive, and you cannot behave that way in like a small group. Like, but all of that to say,
what I was going to get at is the second post-credit scene had me that way. The first one, I was like, this is a lore experience that I was not expecting to happen this early on. Surely was thinking that was some other, even the end of this phase, they would even drop. Look, I'll show you. Let's look at the timeline. Like, I thought, I didn't even know what movie would have dropped or show would have dropped that. Maybe Loki season 2, but like, good Lord, that first post-credit scene was unbelievable.
We may be getting a lot more Kang. We may be getting a lot more Kang than we expected, honestly.
So this gets into what my again, not complaint, maybe just like a worry, maybe. I really was hoping. Now I know that Kang is a multiversal villain that's part of his allure. I was really hoping that our main like antagonistic Kang was going to be a singular Kang who again like was cast out by the Council of Kangs, is seeking to get revenge against them, and that the Council of Kangs might just be just as evil as he is. However, the idea of like dealing with the Kang who is such a bastard that the other, you know, unanimously bastard Kangs all agreed needed to be casted away. Like, it's very much like that joke about like, you know, like that you'll hear from like really cool underground rappers is like, I'm your favorite MC's favorite MC. The reverse of that, where like I'm the Kang that all the Kangs think is too much Kang.
Yes.
And I loved the idea of that being like our main antagonist, like the baddest of the bad. And granted, like there's no reason to think that Kang is dead.
No, he's definitely not.
But
there's the worst Kang.
The way that they're teeing up the plethora of Kangs, the Kang diaspora, to be the kind of central antagonist moving forward into the Kang dynasty. I was a little disappointed in. Now again, where Loki season 2 takes that, we don't know. Like, because the Loki that Loki post credit scene almost implied that Kang is the one from the movie. Was I the only one who got that impression that that's what they were trying to imply?
He is the one from the movie? No, I don't think. I think they're going to be hunting a bunch of Kangs.
I think he's just looking for every variant of Kang at this point. I think that seems what Loki and
I don't know. I think the only reason why I was a little like, ooh, what's going on here is because Loki is so spooked by him. And like personally, I don't think Loki came away from He Who Remains freaked out by the individual. So either Loki is going to encounter.
He saw the TVA. You know, Jared, he saw the Denis was like, oh shit.
He saw what happened. But like whenever Mobius in that post-credit scene is like, oh, this is your guy, he doesn't seem that bad.
That's a great like, Owen Wilson, actually.
Oh, thanks. Wow. Wow. But but in Loki's like oh, you have no idea, like that. There's like terror in Loki's voice, and it's like fucking He Who Remains was nothing. Like, what are you all spooked over?
That's fair. I agree.
So like I think either Loki's going to get exposed to a very dangerous Kang early on, or we're going to find out that this is actually like Kang Prime.
Well, he does say at the end of Loki, he goes and says he is terrifying.
He's like, if you think I'm bad, wait until you meet my variants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Which I also love that we got
could
like
be what
Egyptian
we're doing.
Pharaoh Kang as well,
which
goes all the way. Again, his comic stuff, which was great.
Comics, so cool. Jared,
they really are just diving deep into into the deep cuts from the comics, as for what I understand. Again, I didn't. I never read that, so
that's the thing. Like we're at the point where, in the same way that like when it comes to Star Wars, like we're always like anytime the conversation about glup shittos come up, like how do you define a glup shitto?
Yeah,
because to somebody who watches the movies and some of the TV shows, like Avar Kriss is a glup shitto. But if you're somebody who even reads a little bit of the books, you know that Avar Kriss is one of the most important characters to the High Republic. So how do you call her a glup shitto?
Mm-hmm.
To someone who just watches the live action stuff, Captain Rex is a glup shitto. So like that is all this like weird sliding scale of how much Star Wars are you consuming.
That's the Quantumania of it all.
Yeah, that sets the parameter for like this is a reasonable thing for you to have known.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With comics at this point, with how deep the rosters are going, especially for Marvel, I don't know what you can call a deep cut. Like,
true, that's true.
Like Kang the Conqueror is kind of a mainstay Avengers and Fantastic Four villain.
Yeah.
So like, if we're adapting stuff at this point, Kang's kind of a first stringer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like Kang in the grand scheme of things, again, depending on, who you ask and depending on publication history and how you want to define that, you might want to put Kang ahead of Thanos, in many regards. Like, I'm glad they waited to do Kang until we can eventually have him tie into the Fantastic Four.
And I'll tie into every other series of movies, because I'm sure that's how they'll pull Deadpool in and everything else. Just from this character.
I have a full pitch for Deadpool 3 that I am more convinced now than I was before is going to be how they do it.
See, it's funny when you get to the implications of what this movie set up, and like, we know what's coming down the pipeline. We've looked at the same image over and over again. We've seen a couple of these characters obviously show up already in their respective shows, Agatha, anyone. You could see all these lists, Echo, Secret Invasion. Like, I'm just so happy that knowing that he could be trickled throughout it is just the most satisfying thing in the world to me, because that's how you set up a really good villain. And I believe what's the next Avengers, isn't it like in 2025? I think like
2025,
3 years.
It's like they do another back to back.
2026.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do another back to back. You're right, Jerry. I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's so was it Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars?
See, I guess that maybe I just didn't jive too much with the Phase 4. Not that it was a bad thing. I just didn't see any connective tissue. But if you thread every movie now with this threat or this story with this threat, you automatically build a hype for when's he going to show up next. And he can show up in the most unexpected of places now.
I think there's something important to be said there. And I'm sorry for cutting you off, Scotty. I just get excited to talk about comics.
No, I don't blame you.
Other than my own show. But I think there's something to be said for the fact that, like, transport yourself back to 2014.
Yeah.
The hype is building for Avengers Age of Ultron. And while we're getting hype for Avengers Age of Ultron, we also know what every Marvel movie is going to be up until what we thought was going to be Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2.
Uh-huh.
So, because we had that full slate, we as the fans could begin to go, okay, so here to here to here to here to here to here to here. We didn't know what the future phases 5 and 6 looked like.
Yeah.
until we had like a month left of Phase 4. Until we were getting to the 2 Thor Love and Thunder, until we were getting to, mid-season of She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
We didn't know. And then once we knew, it's the multiverse saga, Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars, then we're like, oh, okay. Which granted, like even up to this point, people were, calling the audibles to like, we're going to get these Kang stories, we're getting a Young Avengers. There's no way we aren't. I don't like the team is like coming together before our eyes. Granted, it's probably going to end up being some type of hybrid between the Champions and the event and the Young Avengers, but that's neither here nor there. But still, like, I think when you go back now already and look at Phase 4 with the knowledge of we're headed towards the multiverse saga and incursions and shit, everything starts to come together as a very like obvious, here's where everything's meant to coalesce. But yeah.
I appreciate you saying that, because something that I had a hard time with this most recent phase, like I said earlier, was the lack of like what is going to happen. Loki did it really well, but like this movie, I sat down, I'm like, yeah, this is like, I can see how for the most part they can keep threading this guy in, and like even in a show like Loki, or even like even weirdly enough, I could even see him showing up in Guardians in some capacity, or
the Marvels, maybe
like Marvels, like you've got a different universe in the Marvels at this point. So like I just see opportunity now. Even Secret Invasion could be an insane place for him to show up. I don't know. And obviously Loki season 2 could of course conclude a weird mini chunk of that story. Who is he really? Are every one of them bad? Will we even get the full on like my great grandfather Reed Richards? Like are we gonna get some meat and potatoes there?
I mean that itself is also like a really weird fraught thing as to like whether or not they actually want to thread that, because again, depending on who's writing and who you're asking, do they both just happen to be named Richards, or like is Nathaniel Richards a like great descendant of Reed?
Yes, I think that's the case. And
I hope so.
I hope so too. But all in all, like I can't wait to see this one again. I didn't say that about most of these movies besides Thor: Love and Thunder and this one, but like I am excited to go back into the theater and just sit down and experience it again.
Oh yeah,
with
so
what
much
I know
fun
now. So much fun, so much popcorn. And I am getting popcorn next time. I'm gonna get a drink and icy, and this like it's gonna be a thing next time, because this time I was like, all right, zone the hell in.
Great movie to get high with, I bet. Just saying. I bet this is trippy as hell. But no, listen, so much good stuff. We could continue on, like going on and on and on. Yeah. But just, I don't know, man. Like I got what I wanted with the whole, I really identify with Scott and Cassie's relationship, right? It feels like me and my kiddo. And there's one line he did give to her that I wanted to bring up, and then we can talk about kind of that ending, which was great about him, kind of his inner monologue at the end, by the way.
Oh,
hilarious.
That was kind of brutal, though.
It was brutal, but it was so Ant-Man. I loved that they still kept, this is like his comic book. We're seeing an issue of Ant-Man on the screen, and it felt like that. But so there's something that he does say to Cassie. It's I forget the exact line, but it's the only thing I didn't mess up was you. It's saying as he's about to go in and get the go into the what is it, the probability storm or whatever.
Yes, the probability storm.
That entire sequence, by the way, I loved that. I loved it. That was that was my girl dad fist pumping moment. Like yeah.
Schrodinger's cat in a box. It was literally like just multiple Schrodinger's cats.
You're in Schrodinger's box, and you're the cat.
The cat. That's the line. So
exactly. Good. But just I don't know. There's so much good. Also, by the way, I want to shake the hand of whoever decided to use the Welcome Back Kotter theme song, because
amazing.
I love like Welcome Back Kotter came on Nick at Night like back when I was a kid, and I no one ever knows it exists. Honestly,
No.
like you can't talk to hardly anyone about it. And I fell in love with that show for some weird reason.
John Sebastian. I loved that song growing up. I didn't watch.
I
the show,
love that song. As soon as it started, I'm like, yes, thank you.
The only licensed song in the whole movie, and most of these movies usually have a ton of licensed songs.
Right, right.
Really weird. Jerry, I agree. That was a beautiful moment. I didn't like when all the Ant-Mans realized they're going to do this for Cassie. That was such a cool, and they were all then ants. They all then believed in their hierarchy.
Right. They were doing that whole thing. Yeah. I love that there was one that got to work for Baskin Robbins in there. I love. Did you hear the people? Like you could hear him talking. It's a bunch of Paul Rudds literally there. And I love there's one of them's that guy pops up from Baskin Robbins like, do you have ice cream? Like way in the back, some dude. But no,
that's a good moment, Jerry.
It's really good. Well, listen, it's really late. We've all only seen this once and everything. I'm sure there's so much more we could talk about to death and everything. But I just as a dad, that's the part that really spoke out to me and everything. Because I feel the same way. You know, the one thing that I feel sometimes, not to get too deep, you know, like I feel like you haven't messed up sometimes is your kid. Yeah, exactly. And that's debatable sometimes for some people. I guess.
It's so funny. People also struggle with this, and that's a very realistic moment, Jerry. I agree with you. But the inner monologue, I mean, I don't know how many of y'all have ever just like know you did something that's gonna bite you in the ass later.
That's how your thoughts sound. Just like it's just a constant. It's just a constant run.
And it was funny, but at one point I'm like, this is very art.
Did I doom everybody?
Very art noir. Yeah, you're almost like it's very much like what's the movie? The Graduate, where they're finally on the bus, they make their escape. They're two star-crossed lovers, and they both sit there like, well, maybe this wasn't worth it all. Maybe I actually made things worse by doing this.
That introspection.
I spent the entirety of the ending waiting for a shoe to drop.
Yeah.
I was waiting for another Spider-Man Far From Home. Yes, or Eternals or something where like a portal was going to open and someone was just going to be like, hi, Scott.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
Yes. But I'm glad they didn't give you that. Because it's almost
got a whole
worse
phase.
to have. Well, it's almost worse to have you feel like, oh God, maybe he did mess.
He planted that seed of doubt.
Yes,
we know it's true. We all know it's true.
That's what I liked about. Well, that's what I loved about phase. You know, I guess you could say phases 2 was like the Thanos moment where he's like, you know, you see him on the throne in the very end of Avengers, and you're like, oh, like what? But to have an actual character have that same realization live on screen, like. Maybe I really should have killed him. Like I'm like, dude, like this is such a raw moment.
Or shouldn't have. Yeah.
Like,
that was his whole thing. Like, oh God, what did I do?
Well, because like I said,
he's looking at all the random people and stuff too. Like oh God, oh God.
It was played for laughs, but to me it almost was.
I didn't. It's get
haunting.
Funny from that. It's funny because of Paul Rudd's like, oh my God. But like when you're just looking at all these random people, how many of those people just got their lives back?
Exactly. And that's what works so well is because these movies have now made you realize, okay, some of these people were blips, some of them won't, you know, they're homeless now because they're, you know, of what happened. And then Scott Lang, of all people, because he's the one that has never had, like you said, Jared, he never had the superhero stakes like everybody else. He never had the Iron Man stakes. He never had the Captain America stakes. He never had even Doctor Strange stakes. He's always been the one that had the kind of lower tier villains until Endgame, but that was a group effort. When he realized that he just met the next problem for the however long, the foreseeable future and past, he's like, oh shit, like, and I've got no one to help me. Everyone's gone at this point, you know.
Yeah.
Besides
Hulk.
Yeah, they're all kind of
all
scattered.
the heavy hitters are either retired or dead.
Or yes, and so you got to think as a character, you're almost like, oh my, like I can enjoy this moment, but in the back of your head, you know, no matter what, something is going to go wrong, and it may not be in your timeline, but it's gonna happen inevitably.
That's like Jared was saying earlier. You know, this is the old guard learning, oh, I can't just lay down my sword. I have to keep going. That's him realizing it's not done. And I have to fight for this. I have to fight for my daughter, for my family, for everything.
Yes.
Not just them, for everyone. And, you know, it's him realizing like this is going to be bad. Yeah. Probably, you know.
Well, I mean, there's
also trying to have a nice family moment.
Yes.
There's also, you know, depending on how hard in the paint they go with adapting, like the, you know,
Waka Flocka reference there.
Yes. Depending on how hard in the paint they go with adapting, like the Brian Michael Bendis Avengers stuff, Kang is not lying when he says the end of all things is messy.
Oh, Jesus. Makes me nervous.
He's also said he's killed a lot of Avengers. So
he certainly has. But when the MCU is looking at an incursion and we inevitably have a mainline MCU Illuminati that has to make some really nasty decisions.
Jared, I want to sleep in peace tonight.
Jerry,
okay? Come on.
Would you annihilate an entire other universe to save this one? Could you sleep at night if you had to make that decision?
Oh, probably not. Honestly.
Oh, that's the problem. But
and Doom is still coming. I just want to reiterate that.
Do you think that's the following villain? Like, do you think they're gonna make Doom like the penultimate, like 3 of 3? Or are they gonna make Galactus 3 of 3?
No, I don't think. I think you could do Galactus. Galactus can be to like the current slate what Ultron was.
I thought too. Exactly.
Like you are a big enough threat to warrant all of the Avengers, all of Earth's mightiest heroes coming together to defend her. But like Secret Wars Doctor Doom is literally referred to as God King Doom.
Yeah, it's the worst. The worst.
Secret Wars Doctor Doom ripped Thanos' spine out.
That's right. And one
fell
swoop. Pretty metal.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I guess that being said, we should end this thing. I love this movie. There will be a probably I got a break next week, so probably a 2 more viewings for me.
I'm gonna go this weekend again, most likely.
Really?
I don't have Ellie or Ellie this weekend. Yeah. I'm gonna probably go Saturday night. I'm gonna go Saturday night. I'm gonna go soak it back in. So
hell yeah,
I'm gonna drink the ooze.
What about you, Jared? What do you think? Another viewing?
Oh, absolutely. I really want to see this again. I really enjoyed it again. I don't think a lot of the critics who really were ripping this movie apart gave it a fair shake at all.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I was baffled. Honestly,
maybe marketing. Maybe they thought the whole thing would be Kane related, but it really was
Maybe they were expecting the heart getting ripped out, and because it didn't,
yes.
Listen,
I'm glad because too much stuff is ripping my heart out these days. Frankly.
But yeah, no, I loved it. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I can tell you this much.
Nice long drink.
Well, I'm sorry. It's been a good Bombadcast with Jared, especially. I love you, Jared. We're gonna have a rematch
coming on.
By the way, in April for those that don't know. Super excited about that. But Jared, if you don't mind, plug what you got going on, man.
I will happily plug my pluggables. Richard is yelling just outside of the office.
How many holes do you have?
That was such a good line.
7.
You know, it depends on how you define hole.
Yeah, that's true. I just love that he paused for such a long moment, Paul, and then he goes, "That's right, actually. Wow,
that's right." Yeah.
That's right. No, you guys can find me at Dark Jedi 2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. We're obviously going to have an Antman and the Wasp Quantumania review out soon. Check out our Patreon. $5 tier gets you access to our several dozen deep Patreon Star Wars Versus series, which we have just started a new season of. Lord Starkiller versus Obi-Wan Kenobi is out now. Qui-Gon versus Ahsoka is coming out next week, barring acts of God in Congress. You can check me out and everybody on this screen, Scotty, very soon, in Epic Confrontations, a Star Wars trivia league put on by In a Galaxy, another Star Wars podcast. Have lots of fun over there. And you can also find me as part of the cast of Ionized Bastards, a Star Wars Edge of the Empire Real Play show where we're coming up on our season finale. That's the next episode we're going to be taping at some point soon here. Big season finale. I play Fabian Martell, a swashbuckling dark Jedi with a mysterious past. Jerry plays a very adorable assassin droid. It's great. It's wonderful stuff. So go check out all this stuff I do.
Well, we have a lot of fun, and Jared is fantastic. Again, like you all, if you're new to the channel, you don't know Jared is a great friend of the show, great friend in real life, and everything he does is golden. You should go check it out right now. So
yeah, I agree. So anything I could plug, I guess in particular, I think maybe next week. I haven't talked to Jared about this. I don't know if you're free, Jared, but I think we should do our State of the Fandom discussion next Thursday, if that is a good day for you. If not, we'll figure it out.
I could I mean, we'll figure that out, but I'm ready for it.
Mando stuff's coming up real soon for all of us.
We're going to be bogged down.
We are going to be bogged down with Mando.
We're all going to be bogged down. For like at least 4 weeks, we're going to have Bad Batch and Mandalorian. Y'all realize that, right?
God,
oh my God.
Amazing. What I'm excited
we're going to be inundated.
I'm excited for that numbness I feel after every episode. I just miss Mando.
Same.
I'm always like I can't go to work. I can't go to work.
The post-nut clarity, yes. Of like, how can I go to work after my world has been shattered, right?
Yeah, literally. like we said earlier, it's not scripted. It's Bombad.
It's absolutely Bombad.
It's absolutely Bombad. Very happy to have you here, Jared. I love you very much. Jerry, I'm excited for what we have coming up in the future. We'll be sending some messages out to some people soon about
Yes, get ready.
That logo should come in tomorrow too.
We got a fancy new logo for you all. And we're excited about it because we found some delicious nostalgia that is
you found it. That was brilliant.
Listen. This is all a group effort. Me and Scotty make the magic. All right, y'all just consume the ooze.
Yes, like animals. Anyway,
give me your ooze.
Give me your ooze.
I'll put it in your hole.
You finna?
Say it. Oh God, it makes me cringe.
You finna?
I literally, it makes me cringe. Anyway,
I'm gonna get that guy's permission for you to use that as a Bombad clip from now on.
See, I don't know that one. I know. Have you heard? I'm having one. Okay, let's go. We need to continue.
Everyone have a great evening, and remember to stay Bombad.
Stay Bombad.
Did you say impossible, Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it, Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A soundless disregard, a broken bottle top,
and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
for long. See you in a little bit.
Are you as excited as I am to kick Jared's ass? See me kick Jared's ass?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there watching you kick Jared's ass.
Oh, in person.
Yeah,
like a day or two
live
after
and in
my
person.
wedding. God,
that's honestly the only reason I'm coming there. It's just to watch you kick Jared's ass. Very voyeur-esque of me, but that is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, it's gonna happen.
I can't wait.
He's having fun backstage listening to this. So
yeah. He's just sitting there. I love watching.
He just has to take it. He just has to take it. You have to drink our ooze.
You finna?
Okay.
The hell out.
Well, that was good. Like we said earlier, make sure you